My name is Joshua Hoyt. I am the program coordinator for the Preparing Oakland Native Youth. And I teach a class called Feast, based on Native American cuisines from around the country to help our youth connect with their traditional food.
So this is...
I was born in Montana, but I didn't spend that much time there. That's where my Native American family's from. When I was like 2, we moved to Seattle. So that's really primarily where I grew up.
So these are Nasturtiums. They're pretty good.
I definitely identify as mixed. My mom is this interesting story of like immigrants, recent Italian immigrants along with very old German immigrants. My father identified very strongly as being Native American, I think, in large part because was his experience, right? However, he was mixed too. I was always certain that was part of who I was. But, I present as pretty light-skinned, and, my mom is very clearly white, and, no one ever really met my dad. So, I very much presented as like a typical, white family, which actually makes it really hard, and I think this is one of the unique things about Native American identity. Is that when people sort of assume that you're white and then you tell them that you're not white or that you're Native American in particular, you get a lot of pushback. Even like some of my best friends would be like, well, no, you're not. Some of the most prejudiced moments in my life were around college admissions, where people would say, well, I'm not going to get into a good college because people like you are pretending to be Native American just to get in. So, as I got older and started thinking about what do I want to do, it was like, I think it's important. I want to work with kids, and I want to do something around food and storytelling, because that's sort of my other passion, and do something in the Native community. And so this is like the first job ever where I was like, oh man, I could actually do all the things I'm interested in. Okay. What is a salad? That's actually a cultural concept that not every culture has the same kind of definitions around dishes. So this is very much a combination of like Western food thinking and Native food thinking. So it wasn't until I got this job and was like, oh my God, I have to teach a class about this thing that I know, I'm confident in the cooking side, but the food side as a whole. So it was just like library books and going out. They still make fun of me for saying I have to go out foraging. But I really felt like I couldn't do the class justice without, getting to these foods I'd never heard of. Most people haven't heard of as edible, but were, dietary staples for a lot of these tribes. But I guess the thing for me is that's like the most exciting part, actually. That kind of spirit has to be part of reclaiming your culture. If we're not pushing to that place where things are a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit unfamiliar and a little bit messy, we're probably not exploring the full complexity of our cultures. Yeah, this is the kind of minty. Actually gonna go grab. It's easy to feel like you're not having an impact, actually. It feels like, I don't know, how much of an impact is this having, right? I know that it can help with mental health and physical health and cultural rejuvenation and all these things, but is it doing that? Occasionally I get these reminders. There was this student of mine doing her capstone presentation, and it was about Native food. I'm sure in part it was because it was convenient. She was already in the class, she was learning about something, it applied to this. But that's how culture works, right? It's there for you, and it just gradually becomes part of who you are. I think all of the complications that I talked around my own sort of identity stuff. Essentially, every kid here has at least that level of complexity. And just the experience of being an urban native youth is just sort of unfathomable. In an urban setting, when it's intertribal and multiracial, and you're in a place that's way far away from anything, anywhere that's traditionally part of your tribe, which is true for many of our youth, not all, it's just so complicated. As someone who grew up sort of outside of a community for the most part, there's just a lot of uncertainty that comes with that, right? These will be our greens. Mainly I just want to sort of reconnect our youth with a lot of these very old fundamental principles about Native worldview, really, that I think are all accessible through food. If I had had something like this when I was in middle school and high school, in that moment when somebody said, no, you're not Native, or I would have this whole history to pull on that was accessible to me, right? Of like, no, I went to this place and we did culturally relevant stuff, and I know about my foods, and I know something about the beliefs that go along with this, and I'm part of this community. The overarching thing that I hope they get is a certain kind of conviction in who they are. All right, you want to try it? I'm Josh, and this is my proud plate.